Hey guys, it's Pastor Rachel. I'm doing today's Daily Soap, and we are looking at Colossians 3 and 4. And there are so many good verses to pick from and ideas and themes in these two chapters. But the verse I wanted to look at says, "Whatever you do, do it as if you are working for the Lord and not man." And I don't think I'm the only one who's ever thought this, but I feel like if Jesus Christ himself was my actual, literal, physical boss here on earth, I might approach work a little bit differently. I hope not a lot differently, but probably a little bit differently, and I think most Christians are probably in that boat. It's okay if I'm the only one in that boat, but I have a feeling I'm not. So I just wanted to talk about that for just a minute. And the first thing we have to understand is that it's not a perfect analogy, because a work relationship between a boss and employee here on earth always has a beneficial component. Like, if it is not beneficial for me to have you as an employee, I won't have you as an employee. And what's different about God is He's not going to fire us from being a Christian just because we're bad at it. So I think we have to understand that piece of it before we really make this comparison. But oftentimes, the big thing I think we struggle with as Christians when we approach working for the Lord is that we're not really looking for anyone to work for. Oftentimes we like to be our own manager and do things the way we ought to do. But if we think about a work relationship, if I had an employee that blatantly disregarded what I was asking of them, or the job description or the tasks that I had commissioned them with, they wouldn't work for me long. We understand that in a work relationship that the boss has the mission and the vision, and he relays that to their employee, and the employee is responsible for doing what is asked of them, doing what is told of them, and openly communicating with their boss. Those parts are similar when we are talking about our relationship with God. It is our responsibility to understand His mission and to know what our role in that is, and it's not something that we have to figure out on our own. It's just something we have to ask Him about, and it's really not that hard. But oftentimes we value control more than we do being a part of God's mission. So it makes it incredibly difficult to be a successful employee, if you will, if we are more concerned with control than God's mission. So that is my encouragement for you guys today. Spend a minute asking God what His plans are for you, maybe big picture, but especially for today. Ask Him what He's got set aside for you to do, and just try doing it. Try being a good employee. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because our relationship with God is not what can we do for God, how can we benefit God, but looking at it through that frame of reference kind of makes it easier to understand how we approach God, how we relate to Him. But it really isn't a perfect example, because God isn't going to get out of relationship with us if we screw up and if we mess up. So yeah, I'm going to pray. Jesus, thank you that you are the perfect boss, that you are interested in relationship, not what we can do for you, because in reality we really can't do much for you. And help us to understand that and to see that. But would you help us to come to you humbly, seeking your vision, not our own comfort or our own desire for control, that we would trust that you have a plan for us, and we would be humble enough to understand that we are not in control of our lives, that you are. And when we understand that you're in control, we are much more effective in the things that you have set aside for us to do. So help us to see that and to understand that and to actively be seeking your plan and not our own. Amen. That's all. Have a good Wednesday.